Hello, YouTube, my new family and friends. This is Lucy Edmonds coming to you from Tampa, Florida, my new home. I just wanted to start making my YouTube videos so I can record my testimony. I'm 45, newly divorced again, and life has definitely thrown some curveballs at me. However, I don't want my channel to be about what I've, the trauma part of it. I want to try and talk about the full testimony of it. And I want you to be able to get to come away from it with the testimony part of it. Yes, I did go through some trauma, not terrible trauma, but some trauma. However, I don't want that to be the focus. And I'm sure I'm going to get a few people that may comment on my channel about some of the things that I may have gone through, but that's okay. And I'm going to try not to say names. This is my, oh, this is going to be such a raw video because this is my very first YouTube video. But I believe that there's so many women that are going through the same thing that I'm going through, and at least I can hold myself accountable. That's number one. Number two, have some kind of platform where we can kind of have our own community, where we can talk about a lot of good things, a lot of crazy things, and a lot of things that has changed since, 45 years and 20 years of it was married. 22 years was married. So I want to talk about those things also. I have 3 kids. My oldest is 28. I won't say his name, but that's my baby boy. He grew up with me. I had him when I was 18. My middle son is 22. He's the baby. He's the baby boy of the bunch, even though I treat them both like my babies. Okay. You'll eventually meet them. My daughter, she's 19, and she acts just like me. That's all I can say about that. Eventually, you'll meet her too, hopefully. This whole thing is truly, my life has been truly a blessed journey. And in blessings, there comes a lot of trials and tribulations, but we all know when we come out on the other end, where the blessings come from. So, let's begin about who I am, okay? So this is the first video of who Lucy Edmonds was first, okay? So, I grew up in Newark, New Jersey. Actually, more of East Orange. I'm more of an East Orange girl than anything else. All of my real life that I can remember was in East Orange. I went to Hart Middle School. I was let's not get into that just yet. My aunt, my grandmother, and my Uncle Steve, they pretty much raised us kids. It was a very big house that my uncle bought a long time ago when East Orange was just little East Orange. No one knew anything about East Orange. Matter of fact, Lucille Ball was, I believe she's from East Orange. Anyway, he bought this old senior citizen home in East Orange, and the rooms even had numbers on the doors. So you knew it was a senior citizen home. And it was so funny because growing up there in this house, us kids, it was my mother, her 3 kids, my cousin, she had 3 kids, all us kids, and my Aunt Helen, she only had 1. And we all had other cousins that would come stay with us. Friends of ours would come stay with us. We call them family, though. We don't call any of our friends really. If you come in to live with us and you're going to struggle with us, then you more than friends, okay? Um, you have so many people. We had, it was a big house. It was 12 bedrooms. And believe me, it was a lot of us kids. Now, this was back in the day when that foster parenting and kinship care and all that stuff that did not exist, okay? My Aunt Helen and my grandmother and my Uncle Steve. My Uncle Steve was a contractor. So he took this old house and he remodeled the whole thing while we were in it. Okay, so when we moved in there, it was basically an abandoned house. Okay, but he remodeled the whole thing while we were there, and we saw everything, and we had to participate. Um, it was so many great, great moments in that house, and it was so many um, interesting things that used to go on in that house. And yes, I believe in ghosts. I know people be like, "What?" I believe in spirits. Okay, so I'll talk about that on another time, maybe during Halloween. But I do believe in spirits, so that's why I don't watch scary movies or anything like that. Um, but we grew up in that house with our aunt, my uncle, and my grandmother, and my aunt had to take care of all us kids, and she was on a very fixed income. And you know what I mean by fixed. Stop playing with me, okay? Don't make me say the words, okay? And my grandmother was blind, and my aunt Dorothy, my aunt Helen. Oh my gosh, I said names. Okay, so anyway, I'm not gonna go no further than that. But my aunt used to take care of my grandmother, my other aunt that is disabled. She took care of all of us kids, okay? And she is, not was, because she's still a great woman to me. She's a great matriarch of the family. She is our matriarch, I believe, of the family. Everyone has to have that strong woman. You can, as a female growing up, you can identify with another female um, in a strong woman's role. She taught us how to survive. You know, she never bought. We didn't have the luxury of getting TV dinners often. Mostly everything that she cooked was cases of chicken and straight out the straight food. Okay, none of that processed, none of that. Okay, so she cooked. It was too many of us for to get TV dinners and all that other foolishness. Every so often she would get a couple things, but not very. It wasn't nothing that we could remember. Um, my grandmother was blind, but she was still quite uh, present with rearing us children, okay? And it's so funny because I just remember her praying over us every night because we all, even though this house had a whole bunch of bedrooms, we only could occupy maybe 3 of them at a time because there was a lot of work to be done. And my grandmother, we all us kids used to sleep in the same room with my grandmother in the same bed. So we would have like 3 beds. The bedrooms was like huge. So we would have like 3 beds all pushed together. And my grandmother used to make all us girls sleep in the bed with her. And the boys would sleep on the other side of the room in another bed. And yeah, and that's how it got down like that. We would sleep like that. And some of our friends would sleep on the couches downstairs or whatever the case is. And wherever you could find a place to sleep, that's where you slept. But nonetheless, the door was open. My family was a family to a lot of people. And my mother, I love her to death now. And I want y'all to understand, like, my mother was 14 years older than me. So by being 14 years older than somebody, you are a kid having a kid. So she was, needless to say, she got caught up in the lifestyle of the streets. And when she was able to get, when she was able to get loose, she got loose. Um, and I was raised by my aunt and them. And yes, I have fluent ebonics. Okay, so please don't judge me. Um, the other thing is that, okay, so we, all of us kids, we grew up in East Orange. Needless to say, we were bad. I rolled with a lot of girls that we used to get a little suspended all the time, like every day. Every day we had in school suspension. They would call us to the office every day. I'm better now. So that was our life. We played basketball. We used to go to the park every day in the summertime for the free lunches mostly. But we went to the park all the time. We had a great, like, we made lemonade out of lemons. Okay? So, my first job was when I was 14. I lied on my application. Uh, they didn't ask me for working papers. They just said, okay. Oh, I don't have my birth certificate with me. Is that okay? Okay. So that's how that happened. I got my first job. It was at Burger King with my with my oldest son's father. He met me when I was in middle school. He was 18 or just turned 18, and I was 14. So, yes, I started doing some of the things my mama was doing, except for I didn't get pregnant at 14. Yeah, I did. Actually, I did. But I got an abortion, and I do not condone abortions, but I was too young, and all I kept feeling was I just don't want to be like my mother, which I'm a lot like her now, but I digress. So, um, getting back to that little situation, I had an abortion when I was 14, almost 15. And I chose to do it because I didn't want to go through the same thing she went through. And I do not condone it. It was such a bad experience. I woke up in the middle of it. When I woke up in the middle of that experience, I remember the doctor performing it, saying, "Oh, look at that. He looks just like John Lennon." And then I passed out. That's the only sentence I remember. So I knew it was a boy. And and yeah. So, needless to say, I don't condone it, and I'll never do that to myself again. And I've never done it to myself after that. Okay. But yeah, my first job was at Burger King. Um, got my first little taste of an actual paycheck. It wasn't much. It was like, I don't know, $50 that I made a week, something like that. It was a crazy low number. But anyway, yeah, so Burger King was the first job, Toys R Us. And then it just progressed after that because then I got that bug of wanting money. So then I just kept working and working. And I figured the more I work, the more money I make. Oh my goodness, someone is giving me money. And then I had my oldest son when I was 18. I got pregnant when I was 17. And I always was fighting. I was fighting all while I was pregnant. So needless to say, they kicked me out of regular high school. So they put me in adult alternative high school. This is so terrible. They put me in adult alternative high school. And then I got my GED. And yes, I have my GED. So I got my GED, and then and then I had my son. During that time when I was pregnant, during that time I was pregnant, um, my biological father come strolling down the street one day, and I met him casually as I was about 7 months pregnant. That's another story. All right. This video is already pretty long, and I knew it was going to be long because this is the intro video. So just bear with me because this is a testimony. Okay. Um, so that was that. And then I said, okay, you know what? Let me just give this man a chance. And we talked or whatever. I'll go a video about when you meet your biological father, what that feel like. Okay. Um, and so anyway, I worked a lot of jobs. I've had in my lifetime, I'm 45. In my lifetime, I have had, and I counted this up last night, about 45 jobs. Okay? Don't be judgmental. Okay? And I have lived in about 25 locations. I've moved 25 times in my lifetime. Maybe almost 30. I didn't count that one, but it's close to 25. Somewhere between 25 and 30. Okay? But I wasn't alone. My kids, they definitely remind me how much we moved. But there was a method to my madness. We'll talk about that in another video. Because it's so many things that will make a mother move, and a lot of them have to do with safety of your children. I don't play games with the safety of my children because I know how my aunt and my grandmother and my Uncle Steve protected us. Anyway, let's talk a little bit about Uncle Steve right fast because I know I'm not going to be able to talk about him later. Uncle Steve was the man of the house. He provided the house. He fixed the house. He taught us how to fix houses. Okay? With that knowledge that he taught us when we was kids, I have literally kept doing it. I don't know about anybody else, but I can fix anything. I'm telling you right now. Don't let these little cute little, my crochets fool you. I did this myself. Anyway, don't let that fool you. I can fix things. Okay? I was a certified plumber. I was a sheet metal worker, so I know how to weld. Not as good as my girl Iris Martinez. She's still welding out there. She's a sheet metal worker also. Shout out to my sister Iris Martinez. I've done all kind of things. I'm a licensed barber. I have my A+ certification. I'm working on some things. I'll tell you about that in another video. And I continuously, keep going. All because Uncle Steve, I'm gonna say his name because he's passed away, but God rest his soul. Uncle Steve forced us to work. I guess that was the child labor or whatever. I don't know. It was cheap labor. He made us work. Okay. So all that laying around the house on the weekends, we ain't had that luxury. We had to do things. Okay. But not only that, he was illiterate and he owned his own business his entire life. He used to own a pool hall, a store, a pool hall with a convenience store and all that stuff attached to it. He used to own that. He owned his own construction company. He didn't know how to read. He knew how to buy. He didn't know how to read. Okay? He knew how to make us kids write contracts. He would tell us exactly what to write in the contract. He would tell us exactly how to set up the contract and everything. He went and got his letterhead done and all. Like for someone to have been illiterate, he showed us that you can own your own business. There's no reason. Now, I work for people now, but that's only temporary. I have always owned my own business. And this station or this platform, this YouTube platform is to explain how and why I got to here and how I'm going to transition to my future because I'm 45. I'll be 46 next month. Okay, by 50, we gonna be shaking and baking. Okay, so anyway, my Uncle Steve showed us all of those things, and he really molded us kids, and mostly us girls, because there was a lot more girls than boys, but he molded us girls to be strong like bull. Okay, so anyway, he did that, and it was all good, and I never regretted anything that he taught us, because he gave me that drive. He was the first man that I have ever been around. He showed us that you can still do it. I didn't need a father for none of that. He was the father we knew. Okay, he ain't had no kids, none that I know of. I'm just saying, I ain't never heard him say nothing about no kids. So anyway, so that was that. So I've worked many jobs. I've lived in many places. Um, I've had many life experiences. Some of them were insanely crazy, and I will talk about those as well, because I believe there's two types of hustle. There's a positive hustle, and then there's a negative hustle. And if you let your life go in that negative way, which I've done that, I've done negative and I've done positive. I live my life on a positive path. I wake up every day and I thank God that I am no longer who I used to be, which was rough. Okay? Um and yeah, I don't hold no I'm not going to hold I'm not going to hold nothing back. I'm going to be completely transparent on my platform, because at this stage I'm not ashamed of anything that I've done, because my life is a testimony. Um, so we'll get into that. But this video is pretty long. And I just wanted to explain that I'm newly divorced. I was married twice. The first time I was married was for 20 years. We were great. And then it ended. I'll talk about that on another video, because that's a long story. And then I rebound and got married the second time, and he was everything I thought he was, and then he wasn't. And I'll talk about that in a separate video from the first husband. Okay, so we won't get those stories too murky, because they kind of get a little murky. What else? But I raised some really productive kids, and I thank God that they didn't get messed up in the craziness of my life, because a lot of times our kids do get caught up in our lives. But we have to learn as mothers, because this is not about, I love, don't get it twisted. I love men, and I love our men, black or white. I don't care about none of that. Okay? I love our men. But this ain't about them. This is about us. In order for you to change your life, in order for you to change your path, you got to change here. You can't talk about what somebody did. Oh, he did this to me. That's not where God brought me. That's not the way he brought me. Those things did happen. We will get into that conversation. I will tell you the nitty gritty on what happened with my last two marriages. But this station is about, how do I transition my life from now to 50. Then we go after 50, we'll talk about between 50 and 60. Because you know what? 50 and 60 ain't nothing when you putting it together like I'm putting it together. I'm saying, I just got finished drinking celery juice and the whole nine. But I'm about to eat some breakfast right now, because I need some eggs in my life. But yeah, so this journey is just a little bit, I wanted to tell you a little bit about my past. But I don't want to dwell in my past, because my past is my past. I was very bad. I'm not that person anymore. But those bad days made me the strong woman that I am today. I'll also talk about some of the jobs that I've had that has also made me quite edgy. But I'm still productive, thankfully. They made me strong, but they also gave me perspective. And you have to be able to appreciate that for what it is. So On this note, this is my first YouTube video. I'm so happy. This is raw. There is no filters. There's no cutesy fruitsy things that going on with this thing. So you just gotta be with me on my journey, and I thank you. I feel blessed to be able to make this video, and this is, I promise, is gonna be, I'm gonna try to keep them not so long, okay? But my story is insane, and it's lots of little nuggets, and as I remember them all, I'll do a video about it, okay? So have a blessed day. Thank you for beginning my journey with me. Please like and subscribe. It's so many things that I have to talk about. We got fitness. We got dating after 45. Oh my God. That's a whole nother video. I talk about everything. I talk about these horrible dating sites. I talk about all of that stuff. And you know what? That's okay, because it's time for us to expose this foolishness, because it is foolishness. So, on that note, have a blessed day. And I talk about being a Christian and being monogamous after, or not monogamous. Monogamous is when you got somebody, right? No, celibate. Celibate. I haven't used that word ever in my life, but I'm using it now because that's what I am. And I've been like that for like a year and a half. And oh my God. Anyway, that is not my speed. When you hear my story, you're going to be like, girl, you celibate now? Yeah, because I believe God for something great. And that's it. So have a wonderful day. Please subscribe. Please like this video. I know it's kind of long, but it's my first video, and I appreciate all the support I can get. And thank you very much.